بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful.
Random questions on YouTube, and I'm trying to do the same and see the result. It could be shocking. Let's get to it. Do Muslims worship an evil god?
No, Muslims do not worship an evil God. In Islam, Allah is viewed as the all-merciful, compassionate, and just God. Muslims believe that Allah is loving, forgiving, and wants what is best for humanity. The teachings of Islam promote peace, kindness, justice, and doing good in the world. Misconceptions that suggest otherwise often come from misunderstandings or misinformation. If you're focusing on this question for a video or discussion, it might help to highlight the core principles of Islam that emphasize goodness and compassion.
I want to deep more into it.
That's a great approach. To dive deeper into this topic, here are a few ideas you could explore to give a thorough explanation. 1. Allah's nature in Islam. Explain that Muslims believe Allah is the same God worshipped by Jews and Christians. Allah is described as merciful, just, and compassionate in the Quran. Focus on key attributes of Allah: omnipotence, all-powerful; omniscience, all-knowing; and benevolence, all good. These qualities counter the misconception of Allah being evil. Verses from the Quran. You could highlight specific verses that emphasize Allah's mercy and justice. For example, one of the most repeated phrases in the Quran is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which means in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. There are also verses about kindness, helping others, and fairness, such as God commands justice, the doing of good. Quran 1690. 3. The role of misconceptions. Explore where the idea of Muslims worshiping an evil God comes from. Historically, these misconceptions have often been spread through media, political agendas, or misunderstandings. Explain how terrorism or extremism, done by a few individuals claiming to act in the name of Islam, can distort the public's perception. These actions contradict Islamic teachings, which reject harming innocent people. 4. Prophet Muhammad's teachings. Talk about the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who emphasized mercy and peace. For example, the Prophet said, "The best of you are those who are best to others." You could also share how Prophet Muhammad's interactions with others demonstrated compassion, even towards those who wronged him. 5. Diversity within Islam. It might be useful to point out that there are over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide, and they come from diverse cultures and backgrounds. Generalizing or labeling Muslims based on the actions of a few can lead to harmful stereotypes. By addressing these points, you can create a comprehensive explanation that debunks the misconception. Would you like to explore any of these areas more closely? Or maybe you'd prefer to focus on a particular aspect?
Go more closely.
All right, let's delve deeper into each area. 1. Allah's nature. In Islam, Allah is described in many ways in the Quran. For instance, Allah is referred to as Al-Rahman, the most gracious, and Al-Rahim, the most merciful. These names emphasize his benevolent nature. The Quran also describes Allah as Al-Adl, the just, which means that all actions are judged fairly, and justice is a core attribute. 2. Quranic verses. Key verses you might highlight include, "And my mercy encompasses all things," Quran 7:156, indicating that Allah's mercy is all-encompassing. Indeed, Allah does not do injustice even as much as an atom's weight. Quran 4:40, which underscores the commitment to fairness and justice. 3. Misconceptions. Misunderstandings about Islam often stem from historical conflicts, political narratives, or sensational media. For example, the actions of extremist groups are sometimes incorrectly linked to the beliefs of the entire religion. It's crucial to distinguish between these groups and mainstream Islamic teachings. These groups often misinterpret or distort religious texts to justify their actions, which are widely condemned by the broader Muslim community. 4. Prophet Muhammad's teachings. The Prophet Muhammad's life and sayings are central to understanding Islamic ethics. For example, he taught that the merciful are shown mercy by the merciful. Hadith. This shows that kindness is a fundamental value. His treatment of others, including his enemies, often involved forgiveness and compassion. During a time of conflict, he chose reconciliation over retaliation, demonstrating the core principles of peace and mercy. 5. Diversity within Islam. Highlighting the diversity among Muslims can challenge stereotypes. For instance, Muslims live in diverse regions like Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the United States, each with unique cultures and practices. Emphasize that the actions of a few do not represent the beliefs of all Muslims. Engaging with various Muslim communities can reveal the shared values of peace, charity, and respect for others. These insights can help provide a nuanced understanding of Islam and its teachings. If you need more details on any of these points or want to explore further, just let me know.
I want to dive deeper.
Let's explore each topic even more closely. 1. Allah's nature. Attributes of Allah. Islam describes Allah with 99 names, each reflecting different aspects of his nature. Names like Al-Rahman, the Beneficent, and Al-Rahim, the Merciful, highlight his compassion, while Al-Qadir, the Omnipotent, emphasizes his power. These attributes convey a balance between strength and benevolence. Theological implications. Allah's nature is fundamental to Islamic theology. Muslims believe that Allah's actions are always aligned with his attributes. Therefore, anything attributed to Allah must reflect justice and mercy. 2. Quranic verses. Justice and mercy. Verses like Allah is with those who are patient, Quran 2:153, and we have certainly created man and we know what his soul whispers to him, Quran 50:16, illustrate the depth of Allah's understanding and empathy toward human struggles. Contextual understanding. The context of Quranic verses is crucial. Many verses are revealed in specific historical contexts and must be understood within those contexts to avoid misinterpretation. 3. Misconceptions. Historical and political factors. Many misconceptions about Islam have roots in historical conflicts or political agendas. For instance, colonialism and geopolitics have sometimes shaped negative perceptions. Understanding these historical contexts helps explain why such misconceptions persist. Extremist groups often use a radical interpretation of Islamic texts to justify their actions. These interpretations are widely rejected by mainstream Muslim scholars and communities. Clarifying these differences is key to addressing misconceptions. 4. Prophet Muhammad's teachings. Life of the Prophet. The Prophet Muhammad's life is a model of ethical behavior. For example, during the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, he chose peace and negotiation over conflict, demonstrating his commitment to reconciliation. Hadith literature. The sayings and actions of the Prophet, Hadith, provide insight into his teachings. Many Hadiths emphasize kindness, such as, a Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hand other Muslims are saved, Hadith. Studying Hadiths helps understand the Prophet's approach to justice and compassion. 5. Diversity within Islam. Cultural practices. Different Muslim communities have unique cultural practices that reflect local traditions while adhering to Islamic principles. For example, the way Ramadan is observed can vary, but the core practice of fasting remains the same. Global perspectives, engaging with Muslims from various regions, like North Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia, can reveal a rich tapestry of beliefs and practices, showing that Islam is not monolithic but diverse. By delving into these aspects, you can provide a comprehensive view of Islamic beliefs and practices. Let me know if you'd like to focus on any specific detail or need more information on a particular point.
I want to dive deeper into this topic.
Sure, let's dive deeper into each aspect. 1. Allah's nature, philosophical and theological depth. Allah's attributes are central to Islamic philosophy. For instance, the concept of Tawheed, the oneness of God, underscores that Allah is unique and incomparable. This doctrine rejects any form of polytheism or the idea of God having human-like flaws. Divine justice and mercy. In Islamic theology, Allah's justice ensures that everyone is held accountable for their actions. At the same time, his mercy allows for forgiveness and redemption. This balance is a key aspect of understanding divine justice in Islam. 2 Quranic verses, exegesis tafsir. To fully understand Quranic verses, scholars use tafsir, which is the interpretation of the Quran. Tafsir provides historical context, linguistic analysis, and theological insight. For instance, understanding the context of verses revealed during times of conflict helps clarify their meanings and avoid misinterpretations. Prophetic traditions. Verses are often interpreted in light of hadiths, which provide additional context. For example, the Quranic command to repel evil with good, Quran 41 verse 34, is illuminated by the Prophet Muhammad's actions and sayings, which emphasize responding to harm with kindness. 3 misconceptions. Impact of media and politics. Media often sensationalizes conflict or extremism, which can distort the perception of Islam. Analyzing how media representations and political narratives shape public perceptions helps understand why misconceptions persist. Responses from Muslim scholars. Many scholars and organizations work to counter misconceptions by providing accurate information about Islam. Their efforts include public talks, educational programs, and social media outreach. 4. Prophet Muhammad's teachings, historical context. The Prophet's life is studied in detail through biographies, seerah. These works describe his character, his interactions with companions, and his responses to various situations. For example, his behavior during the early years of Islam, when he faced persecution, exemplifies patience and resilience. Ethical teachings. The Hadith literature offers guidance on daily conduct and ethics. Topics such as justice, charity, and interpersonal relations are covered extensively. Exploring these teachings can reveal how ethical principles are applied in everyday life. 5. Diversity within Islam. Different schools of thought. Islam has various schools of thought, such as Sunni and Shia, each with its own interpretations and practices. Exploring these differences helps understand the rich diversity within the Muslim world. Global practices. Examining how Islam is practiced in different cultural contexts, such as Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, provides a broader perspective on the religion's adaptability and influence. By exploring these dimensions, you gain a deeper understanding of Islamic beliefs, practices, and the ways misconceptions can be addressed. If you need more specific details or resources on any of these aspects, feel free to ask.
Thank you. That's all.
You're welcome. If you have more questions in the future or need further assistance, just let me know.
Wow, mashallah. It explained really well. The only, because it's not an actual person, she mentions the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she carry on. ChatGPT is well. If you share this with people, a lot of people will be educated for sure. So, what do you think? Did you agree with everything that you heard from ChatGPT? Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. What's the points that you disagree? What's the points that you agree about Islam? And thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.